this is what I've actually come up with to get that rear bolt. So you can actually twist these 90 degrees, so you can see there, and that's roughly what it's going to look like to get onto that back bolt, and that's what's pretty much working for me. I did pull out that front bolt just to give myself something to work with so I could actually get this in, and then we'll worry about getting that front one back in once I've got this back one done. So wish me luck. So the trick to this is get this side bolted up. That doesn't really matter, you can get that one done on the inside of the chassis, that's fine, you can leave that one in there, that holds everything in place. When you come around to this side though, and you're looking at getting to these ones in here, do this one up, or drill your hole for this one using the G-clamp so it's in position. Put the bolt in, get your captive nut up on the other side and tighten that up. That'll pull this plate in, which will allow you to drill this back hole for this back bolt. Then take this one out and loosen these bolts up, and that'll allow you to press this plate up against the chassis rail, and then reach up with that stupid locator arm and reach that back bolt. What I find is take the bolt out, your locator arm up through the back there, and have the bolt out of the hole, and you'll actually see that that nut on the back, so you know you've got it roughly in position. Once you've got the radius or the bend of those locator arms sorted out, you can then go about trying to put that bolt through and getting it to match up, then come back through and do this front bolt here, and then tighten everything back up.
In only an hour and a half. In only
an hour and a half. So it should look something like that. Now that side took me forever, probably at least an hour and a half I reckon. Stephen's been keeping me company, making fun of me. I reckon we can get this next one done in at least under 2 hours. So probably, let's call it half an hour for the other side I reckon. Okay, so just quickly while we're here, I haven't fully cut the very quickly. I haven't cut the fenders, and what we're doing is just holding the bumper, holding the bull bar up on those brackets that are there, and there's Craig, just to have a look and see if we can figure out whether that lines up with the cut marks, and it looks pretty close. I'm going to make some quick adjustments on the fly, and then we'll do some cutting and we'll see how she looks.
Do you have to fix the winch before you put the bumper bar on?
Supposedly on this one.
Okay, because it does make it a bit heavier.
I don't necessarily believe them though, because they're saying you can't do it because the intercooler's down there, but the intercooler's way back in there.
I think
they're bullshitting to me.
I think you'll find you can't get it up through this.
Possibly, yeah. They said. Look like I know what I'm doing?
No, it's not at all.
Good, alright. Don't want to give the wrong impression.
For the folks at home, this is probably not the way to do it, okay?
It's definitely not the way to do it.
So, if you've been watching all of Brett's videos on all his how-to stuff and you think he's got ideas and skills, really he doesn't.
Nope, make it up.
He just edits the crap out of him so it makes it look like he knows what he's doing. That's all it is.
Can I go up to the line on that one, mate, at all? The top one?
The top one, no, you're about a quarter of an inch below it. It's a very technical term, that, a quarter of an inch.
Quarter of an inch, yeah, quarter of an inch.
And the fact that you put an about in front of it as well.
Thereabouts a quarter of an inch. Could be half an inch.
Rulers laying around here anyway.
And I think we're close enough to done. This is just a test lift. We've got the A team here, Stephen and Craig over the back there. Craig's not real smart, but he can lift heavy things. That's right. That's what he tells me. So this is actually going to come up on this side, which will be all right there, I think. And coming around to this side, I think we are pretty close. I think we're going to work with that. Again, I didn't cut right up to the lines where I've marked it. I've cut about 1/4 of an inch thereabouts, as per Craig's measurements, about 1/4 of an inch.
That's technical for the us Americans.
And I've left that down there, so we'll see. We'll try and bolt it up, and we'll see what that actually looks like when we get it fitted. But for now, it's just resting on the front. And Steve's just found me thimble. I think he likes that. He's looking for a factor 55 one, but obviously the one on the front of my car is cheaper than those.
Oh, so way cheaper.
So there we go. Anyway, we're going to put some bolts in. See how we go. Once you've got that bar lifted in place, you pretty much just need to have somebody on the outside lifting up a little bit, and you can just put these 3 bolts in this side. They go on to the bracket, obviously you fix to the front of the vehicle. Where we just left off was lifting it in for a test lift, and you'll see there that I had to cut some additional sections of the bumper there just to make it fit up nicely. I ended up going with pretty much what they suggested as far as the cuts on the templates. We've got about a finger on this side, and we're about a finger on this side as well, so we're pretty close. I think this one's just a little bit higher. I'm pretty happy with that. The biggest fight was getting this bloody pinch weld on and getting it to mould and go around. I'm still yet to tidy up these guards in here. I need to do something about getting these tidied up and getting that drilled and getting the hole drilled here and get that clamped up. But that's alright, we'll get to that later on. Now, I haven't wired up these indicators because I think if you've watched the video you would have seen my opinion on those. I've jumped on eBay. There is one that will fit in here, which is actually an LED. It's an indicator and a parker, so they're about 30 bucks, so we're going to grab a set of those. Back here you can see here's all my winch wires ran. I still need just to flick these covers over the top of these winch cables here, but we'll get around to that later on. They're really tight. You actually need to get a screwdriver on to those to tighten those up. So we've routed those cables up. I stuck a cable tie through the top of the bumper there, and then and come through, and then cable tied all these wires up and out of the way. Actually not wires, they're cables at that thickness. So they're all pulled up and tucked up, so they're not resting on the top of the winch here. I still need to just duck down to Bunnings and grab some bolts that'll fit into place and hold this front bash plate on, so they're obviously too long now. In relation to the number plate there, I will eventually get a hinge or something like that, but for now that's on, that's good, that's all fit. From the solenoid perspective for the winch, I used the mount that actually come with the winch bar. So there are a couple of holes just in the front, so there are a couple of bolts down there, and then the solenoid just sits up proud like that. I would like to still be able to have part of that cover on and just have the clutch side exposed, just to protect that winch cable, but so be it. You can see the clutch in there, that's easy enough to get into and move as required. If you're considering doing this yourself, I'd probably definitely recommend giving yourself a weekend. I did this over 2 days, so when it comes to actually mounting the bar on the vehicle, it is good to have a couple of extra pair of hands. I was under there putting the bolts in and tightening those up. I had a friend at the front making sure it was all level, and then I had another friend on the side who could go both sides just to lift it up, to hold it, push down, whatever was required just to get it to fit into place. So all good there. One thing I don't like is this section. You can just see here. These parts, they do say to grab some black paint and give those a spray, so I might get around to that. I'm actually thinking of cutting that off and making that disappear altogether, albeit that does offer some protection up into that wheel arch there, so they may stay. I'm not real sure yet at this stage. Biggest challenges were running those locator arms up into that, I guess that chassis piece, chassis rail, and getting those bolts to line up with the bolts, you know, that are holding those brackets on. Follow the order that I've instructed you, and that makes it pretty simple. Probably get yourself a couple of drill bits. I did manage to break the 10.5 that you need to get to drill through into the chassis, so maybe have a couple of those. I was just lucky that I had an older backup, and we only had one hole to drill when we got to the end, so that was good. Back of the bullbar here, there's holes which the grill then pushes into, so then you just go back in and put all your scrivets back in there. Those looking at doing it, one of the things that I really wanted to see was how much of this I actually had to cut. So I'm giving you a good look here just so you can see what you roughly need to go to. So this was pretty much to the end of this light, was where I needed to cut. The reason the cut is there and not a little bit further over to cover that gap is there was a black plastic piece of bumper there, which meant I had to cut it off here. So that's why that is probably a little bit short. So realistically, other than this cut here at the side, which goes across the top of the bumper and down, you could probably be a little bit flexible with how much of this you actually leave underneath. You could probably leave a whole section. We'll get under and have a look actually, and hopefully you can see under there a little bit. This is the bottom of the bumper there that we've cut, so you could leave a lot of that hanging down if you wanted to. That would give you lots to work with. Now, not that it was noticeable to me, and I still don't particularly care, but one of the friends took issue with these welds on the front, basically saying that they could have been tidied up, and they haven't even sort of tried to flatten those out. But see, sort of down here as well. So whether you've got an opinion on those or not, I don't know. That weld on the corner there. For the routing of the wires for the winch, you can see I've pretty much just come in through the back there, back of that headlight. They run up along there. Here's my isolation switch, which I wasn't really sure where I was going to put that. Originally, I'd actually drilled a couple of holes right here in front, and so I thought that'll be a nice place. It'll be down out of the way. It was actually seated in under here a little bit, but what I actually found was the extension that they give you was not long enough to go from here back to the front of the vehicle, which is where I really would have liked to have that isolation switch. So it kind of limits you to sort of this sort of radius in the vehicle. Basically just use this bolt that was at the back of the vehicle here up on the firewall, so that worked alright there. Easy enough to handle. I do need to pop the bonnet all the way, which I'm not a big fan of. I would have liked to have it down the bottom so I could just sort of reach in, flick it and turn it on. I might eventually run some sort of isolation switch into the cab rather than actually having it in under the bonnet, and I think that'll make things a lot more easier. So I think I'm going to call that a wrap for this one, guys. That's pretty much it. Certainly if you've got any questions, if you want any pictures, anything that I can assist with, shoot me a message below and I'll do my best to get back to you. But for now, that's it. The bull bar is on, the winch is on. I'm as happy as a pig in mud. I'm about to head out the back and grab the lights and start mounting those. So thanks very much for coming along for this one. You know, if you're looking at getting into something like this and doing your own and fitting your own bull bar, I hope this helps and gives you the courage to DIY. Thanks guys, we'll catch you on the next one.